Hello, gorgeous queens. Welcome to this portal, this masterclass. I don't even want to call it a masterclass. It is so much deeper than that. It is a portal, it is an activation, a remembrance of who you truly are. Because there's already a timeline where you are experiencing the six-figure reality, your dream life, your dream business, getting paid to exist, getting paid to speak your truth. And that is what we are remembering and who we are remembering today. So I'm so excited to see you all on this particular transmission. How, like, out of all the places that you are today, you are on this particular call because your version, your six-figure identity has brought you here to remember her. Because this is why I created this particular call. This is why you are on this call and why that version of yourself brought you here. Because there's this lie that we have all been taught, a lie that we have to wait until we have the six figures cleared in the bank account, we have the successful business, we're getting paid to exist, etc., etc before we can actually feel into and become her, before we can start to show up as the wealthy version of us, the successful version of us, the confident version of us. And you might be sitting there thinking, and I can see, a few of your faces right now sitting there thinking, oh, I can't feel that way right now. I can't feel wealthy with the amount of wealth that's sitting in my bank account. I can't feel confident in my process that I take my clients through until I've, helped a certain amount of clients, or I can't feel successful because X, Y, and Z is so much more successful and I'm comparing myself to them. But my love, this is why you are here. Because when we can step into and embody the six-figure identity, the six-figure version of us, that is when you close the gap, you condense the time, and you actually experience that in your life. So, I want to take you on a little bit of a background story of my own journey. So, if we have not met before, I am Ashley, and I'm so happy and grateful to see you here because honestly, this particular topic has changed my life. And that is why I'm showing up to share this in this particular call so that you can walk away from this activation in this call and literally start to change your life. So definitely, stick to the end because I have so much gold to share with you. So, a couple of years, I actually stepped into my purpose. So, I started my business as a clinical nutritionist, and I was good at this. I was creating some success, the external success, all of the things, but I knew this wasn't my mission. I knew this wasn't my purpose, that I am here to teach and share and shift the collective consciousness. That is what I am here to do in this lifetime. So, about 2 years ago, I made the decision to say, you know what? I'm showing up and I am sharing this message. I'm sharing my soul's truth on these platforms. And someone's got to hear my voice. Someone out there is got to be changed by this impact. And I felt like I was showing up consistently, like literally every single day. I was investing in myself. I was doing all of the things. And, like I was a manifestation queen. I'd manifested some incredible things in my life, but I continuously showed up in my business and did not see the results that I desired. I did not make the impact that I knew that I was meant to make. So about 6 months ago, I was literally on a ball in my bedroom, just crying and being like to my partner, I'm so done. I'm so fucking done with this. Something needs to change. Or maybe I'm just not meant to speak this message and this truth. And if you feel like you're at that, position within your life right now where you're questioning your purpose, you're questioning what you're meant to be doing here, and maybe you're flipping between, different types of strategies to try and, make it stick and try to be seen in this world that we live in, right? Try to be visible to the right people. And that is why you have been called here. Because that point where I was at, where I wanted to quit my business, I don't want that for you, right? I do not want that for you. Or maybe you've even declared that I am sick and tired of my business this way. Show me a sign, God, universe. Like, what is meant to shift here? And maybe this masterclass has literally appeared for you. And that is why you're on this call with us today. So I am just so honored and I'm so proud of you for literally declaring that you're ready and being open to receive this. Because 6 months ago, when I almost quit, a mentor came into my life and I was so drawn from my intuition. And even though I had invested over and over and over again, and I was just like, hang on a second, aren't I meant to receive tenfold what I invest into myself? And I just wasn't receiving that. But I just knew. And it was all around this concept of identity, which 6 months later led to creating and quantum leaping into the life that I couldn't have even even thought was possible. When I, at the start of working together, where I wanted to quit my business and whatnot, I was like, I'm declaring that this is the time, right? I'm declaring that this is the time. And I created this vision board, right? So my life did not look like it had any possibility that this could be true. Like I wanted to quit my business. Like we are talking living off like $400 a week, like crazy. And I was just like, you know what? Let's go out. Let's go to the Lux Vibe. I've got my water in a wine glass. We are luxurious women. I know that if I've attracted you, you desire the luxury. And that is exactly what I wanted to create. So I put on the Emirates business class. I put on having my yacht on a 30th birthday. For my 30th birthday, being on a yacht, I had the trips and the travel and, being in these new luxe environments and, traveling, being with my friends, like all of these things. And I kid you not, everything on my vision board. This isn't even, all of what manifested. But my partner and I have been that much overseas travel that we are just like, I don't even know where we desire to go next. We flew business class home from Europe. We moved to our ocean view dream apartment, which I'm bringing this call to you today as well. The yacht for my 30th birthday, Europe, all of these things manifested because I stepped into the version of myself who is aligned with that reality. So I want to explain a little bit about, how identity, like what identity is and how it's so powerful in creating the life and the business and getting paid to exist, getting paid to share your message with the world and help shift collective consciousness. Because no matter what you're doing, the energy of you actually going after and completing your soul mission, everything about that is like who you become in that process. And then how you actually give off the energy behind what you are doing. That is changing collective consciousness. And that is what you are meant to do. And you are meant to be paid fuck yes money for that. Okay. So I realized that it wasn't the fact that I had a strategy problem, that every time I changed my strategy or I was like, no, I'm not meant to talk about this, I'll talk about this, and shifting and changing and manipulating, that wasn't the fact. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that I was holding on to an outdated identity. I was operating in my business, in my life, from an old identity. So even if I attracted, dribs and drabs of things, I would sabotage. I would change my mind. I would literally create a scenario where I would be back in the same old reality and old timeline because I hadn't actually shifted my identity. I wasn't the version of myself who could actually hold the life and reality that I desired to call in. So, like what I said in the beginning of this call, is that that version of you already exists. So when I'm saying, that version of you already exists, we know through quantum physics that there's a quantum realm, and every single reality in the quantum realm that we can't physically see with our eyes, but we can with our intuition. That reality in the quantum field, every single timeline exists. So the timeline where it doesn't work out, the timeline where it does work out, the timeline that you're driving your dream Porsche, the timeline that you're in your dream apartment, all of that already exists. That's why you have desires. Desires have literally been placed on your heart for a reason because you are meant to expand into that version of you who attracts what it is that you desire, right? So that timeline already exists. So how, the law of attraction is this big, juicy word that gets played out so many times, right? But the law of attraction can't work without the law of vibration. We have to become an energetic match to that timeline, to what it is that you desire for the law of attraction to come into play. So, by becoming an energetic match, we want to and we have to show up as if it has already manifested, as if you already are experiencing the six-figure reality, the six-figure business. We have to show up as if that is already done. That is how we become an energetic match. And that is how we become magnetic to all of the opportunities, the ways in which it actually comes into fruition, the how. That's when the whole universe lines everything up to give you exactly what it is that you desire. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you do, what strategies you're using. It responds to who you are being. And if we are operating from the identity that we have always operated from, then we will continuously keep recreating the same reality that we have always experienced. So that is why this call today is so powerful that you are on it, because this is where everything shifts and changes so that you can actually attract what it is that you desire. So let's talk about, how do we actually step into that version of us? Because there's so many misconceptions around this. We hear this all the time. It's like, oh, just be high vibe, just be happy, just be positive, just show up in that positive spirit, and then you will attract what it is that you desire. But it is not that. And I want to debunk this first and foremost before we actually step into that six-figure identity so that we can lay the foundation of what identity actually is. Okay. So you can see that, your current business and reality has a certain identity attached to that. So that identity is giving out a specific frequency into the world, and that is what we, attract back. So we're taking action from this identity. So for an example, say your identity is saying that, I'm not successful yet. I've just started out. I'm a newbie. I need more evidence to feel confident, to feel worthy, to feel wealthy, all of those things. So your identity is giving out a specific frequency. And say we want to be high vibe. So everyone thinks, oh, to attract what I want, I just need to be more positive, be more high vibe, then I will attract what it is that I desire. So this is literally what I did. I started watching YouTube videos, Abraham Hicks, started taking care of my health, nutritionist. That was always something that I did, but, went to personal development events, started to feel really good, excited, grateful, etc., etc. So what my energy did was it was higher and faster. My energy became higher and faster. And while yes, this is great because you start to attract similar things at that frequency. So I started to attract more DMs where you're just like, oh, you're so inspiring, or I love what you do, or you meet people in your life that are nice and, you know, all of those things. And I know that you probably experienced that. It's like, oh, you're so inspirational. But you're like, hang on a second, why don't you want to work with me? I know that I can really help you. Right? So again, we are attracting similar things at a similar frequency, but our identity is still aligned with our current business and reality. So nothing fundamentally changes. So that is why we have to actually change at an identity level. Because you can be high vibe, but still have thoughts, beliefs, and actions rooted in lack, limitation, resistance to what it is that you desire. So it is the energy behind what we are doing that is magnetic or not magnetic. So if you think about it, from the perspective of, have you ever had, say, a launch in your business and you're just like, oh, no one's going to sign up. I just know it. Like I have a feeling no one's going to sign up. And then you go through the launch, like you're happy, you're excited, blah, 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 blah. And then no one signs up. And you're like, look, I told you, no one signed up. And that's the fact that everyone is manifesting every single time. Everyone is literally creating the reality, and it depends on what you focus on. It depends on who you're being throughout that process. Because focusing on like no clients are going to come is going to create the reality in the same reality where no clients are going to come. So we have to shift at that identity level. So what we want to do, and what I'm going to help you do literally in this call today, which is so powerful, is that we want to shift from your current business identity reality to the six-figure identity. Because I don't want you to just, spend your time today. Your time is so precious and valuable. And I realize that, and I'm honored that you're on this call. But I don't want us to just get excited again and then go out there and attract the same thing that we've always attracted. So let's not just get excited and be inspired, but let's take a bunch of information and let's create something really fucking powerful with that. Let's help you step into your six-figure self. You might see that in the background. I have a woman with a scrubbing brush. And that's really intentional because the whole identity premises is so misconceptualized in the manifestation realm in terms of like, identity is about just show up and look different, just dress differently, um, do your eyebrows differently, walk differently, all of those things. And while yes, they are fun activities, that's not identity. Identity is who we believe that we are, how we see the world, how we see our business, how we see ourselves, our thoughts, beliefs, actions from that space is what is going to emit a certain vibration out into the quantum field. And that is what we are talking about. But it's often all of the conditioning that we have experienced in our life, in our subconscious mind. It's literally rewiring all of that. So it's like scrubbing a layer of conditioning that we have had and experienced in this life to make us feel a certain way about ourselves, to make us feel like it's not safe to be seen, to make us feel like, money is bad and evil and all of these things. We're literally scrubbing that away metaphorically to remember who you truly are. So that is why I said at the start, this is a remembrance of who you truly are. Anyway, it's really powerful. So, the universal law of mirrors, this is literally just saying, our outer reality is just reflecting our internal reality with a delay, right? So, when we shift our identity, it's going to shift our external reality with delay. So for today, I want you to not react to your current external experience. Because what you're experiencing right now in your business and your life is just past energy, past identity that has built momentum to the reality that's now playing out in your external. So it's like changing a movie, right? You change a movie and then a different movie plays on the screen. So what we are doing today is we are shifting the identity. We're putting a different movie in. And then the more that we ignore like what is actually happening in our external reality right now and focus on what we actually want to be experiencing, that is when everything starts to change to mirror that. So, of course, it's not going to happen straight away because there's that delay. So, we want to ignore our current external experience and focus on what we do want, which is the six-figure life and business, right? So, when we are talking about the six-figure identity, we always want to come back to who are we currently being in business? How are we showing up in our day-to-day life? So, for an example, and this is going to be different for everyone, right? So, it's getting really clear and having that awareness on, how am I showing up? And removing the sticky energy of like shame and guilt for showing up for such a long time in this identity. Because when, I was showing up in this identity for such a long time, for years, right? And I'm like, oh, I created so many stories and so much shame around it. But it literally brought you to where you are today. And everyone's journey is so different. I want that to be loud and clear, right? Everyone has to experience failures and go through their own journey of experimentation. The amount of fucking times I've experimented and failed on my ass, picked myself up again, but that has made me who I am today. That has made me into the resilient version of myself. So there's no shame or guilt around who you're currently being, but it's having the awareness around it. Awareness is literally everything. And you will know that in my world. I always say that. So you can get clear on some of the current ways that you are showing up in your identity. So it might be the scarcity mindset, constantly worried like there's not enough time, money, clients, unclear offers or messaging. This is such a big one, right? Struggle to explain what you do or how you're here to help. So that is a classic, confusion. I'm in the void frequency and energy, which is aligned with what you are currently experiencing now. So many times we're waiting for clarity or waiting for that right message to drop in, but we're trying to that out from the identity that is aligned to what you're currently experiencing. So the clarity never comes until you shift your identity, and that's when the clarity drops in. So you can go through some of these and see which resonates with you. So this is a really powerful exercise that you can do after this call, right? To really tap in and tune into who you are currently being. A big one is, I will be confident when, I will be successful when. But the thing is, if you think about your six-figure identity, the version of you who's living the life that she desires, working with the dream clients, helping them get a really incredible result, is she feeling like she's not successful yet? No, she's like, I'm highly successful. Right? So the more that we can embody that now, the more that we can show up as her. So it's not about, repeating an affirmation of I'm successful now, I'm confident now. Affirmations, sure, they can be great, but you need to know this at a subconscious level. Why don't you believe you're successful? Who are you comparing yourself to? Like, wealth is such a big one here. You're listening and watching this particular masterclass on a phone or on a laptop. You've invested in yourself before. I know that you have. You are here, you are showing up. That is wealthy as fuck when you're comparing yourself to someone who doesn't even have like clean running water. It is the law of relativity. It is all relative to what you are comparing yourself to. So I know that without a shadow of a doubt, that you can start to step into and be the successful version of you from today onwards. So then going to the six-figure identity, she has an abundance mindset. Trust opportunities and clients are always available to her. Owns your expertise. Confidently owns their unique magic and value. You know that what you offer is valuable because you have taken yourself through the exact same process. That is all you need. If you have a client on top of that, fucking incredible. But you can show up as her from this point, charges their worth, embodies confidence, clear magnetic messaging. So, what I was saying, the clarity comes when you step into the version of yourself who's like, yeah, I know what my messaging is. Even if you don't know what that is just now, feel into what would it feel like if you knew who you were speaking to, if you knew the clear message that you had, what would that feel like in your body? That's when it drops. So powerful. Invest in themselves. So I know that you've invested in yourself many times, but that is such a powerful trait again and again. Because, like what I mentioned before, when I was at this point and this free masterclass came up in like with my own mentor, I had to step into the version of myself who says, you know what? I trust myself so much that six figures and the life that's going to come after this decision is right there on the other side of becoming her, of shifting my identity, of letting my old identity go. That is like literally half the work right there when you invest from that space, when you invest from her who's already attracted what it is that you desire, because you look at it as an investment. Like that 20K that I invested came back, a million fold in so many different ways, right? And I know you already have that investment mindset, maybe a little bit of trauma there in terms of, feeling like things didn't work out in the past. But when you shift that and you said, what if every investment I made led me to this exact point where I am now the version of myself who is open to literally quantum leap her life, like you on the edge of that. And now these fundamental principles is all you need in order to tip over the edge. It's a simple shift that literally changed my life after investing, six figures in my own personal development journey. Even though there wasn't that monetary return on investment, there was so much more than that because I became this version of myself. So, anyway, someone needed to hear that. And the biggest one embodies the life they desire now. So, even if you don't know exactly what it is that you desire and you don't have that clear vision board yet, it's like, what are the feelings that I desire to have? I desire to feel valued. I desire to have freedom in my life. I desire to have purpose. Like all of those have an underlining feeling and vibration that you can literally start to feel into now and show up as if you already have them in your life. That is how you collapse the time and actually attract it. So, yes, you have created this identity. You've got clear on who you're being, who you desire to be. And now it is about showing up as her in every situation. So when you show up as the six-figure version of you, even when things don't look like they are happening, even when things look like they are going backwards or completely in the wrong way, sometimes we have to experience lack before we experience abundance. Sometimes we have to make room for what we desire before we experience it. This is all part of the becoming. It's all part of everything happening behind the scenes in the energetic realm to then mirror what you desire so you can become magnetic to what it is that you desire. So it's how you react in every single one of those moments. How do you react when a tax bill comes in, or when a bill comes in, or when money comes out? Do you react from the current version of you and spiral into lack and spiral into doubt and spiral into all of the ways that it's not working for you? Or do you embody the six-figure version of you and say, that is fine. I know more money is on its way to me. I know that I trust that clients are just around the corner. I trust that the universe has got my back. This is happening to make room for the life that I desired. So I literally had to embody this version of myself in the past 6 months before everything shifted in my external reality. So many things crumbled in my life, the quantum crumble, beautiful letting go of the old versions of you, the old patterns, the old ways that you kept yourself small. I had to let go of so many things, so many people, places, versions of me to make space for the reality and the version of myself that I am now. So it's literally an opportunity given to you to allow you to actually act and act from the version of you that you say that you are. Because words are one thing, embodiment is a totally different thing. So when you keep doing that, your external reality literally has no option to catch up. The law of perpetual transmutation. And I always refer back to universal laws because they're universal. You cannot bypass universal laws. And when you work with them, that's when everything changes in your life. So the law of perpetual transmutation, the image that you hold on your mind, not just through visualization, but who you show up as every single day, that image you hold on your mind has to come into physical form by law. So it literally has to come into physical form. Like 100% guaranteed when you hold the energy. So again, the universe is only responding to who you're being, not what you're doing. So who are you being in every single moment? Are you the old or the new? So I feel like yeah. In order to be in alignment, in energetic match with the reality that you desire, you also have to feel normal in that reality. So, to give you an example, the amount of times that I visualized myself being in an apartment like this, ocean view, I even went to different open homes to put myself in the environment of the desired reality. That when we stepped into this apartment, yes, it was incredible, it was amazing, but it was also normal, right? So, this is again in anything in life. If we are putting our desires up on a pedestal, if we don't think it's actually truly possible for us to attract that, then it's not going to come because we receive what our nervous system is regulated to. There's a reason why people win lotto and then end up in worse situations, is because their nervous system isn't actually regulated to that. So this whole process of becoming heard, stepping into that version of yourself isn't just a mindset thing. It's a nervous system regulation. It's a calibration within your energy so that every part, every cell of your body is in that new timeline. So you shift energetically first, and that is when your whole 3D reality catches up. It is crazy how fast it all comes in. Like the time that we moved to the Gold Coast, a week before that, we were in Europe, and then we had business class, and clients were coming in, and everything was happening because of who I energetically stepped into first, right? So Keep putting yourself in environments that reflect what you desire, visualizations, the feelings of the feeling of having. That is literally the piece of gold. If you take one thing from this, it's the feeling of having. But it takes fucking audacity when nothing looks like it's happening. The whole universe is literally lining up everything in the background, but we are so conditioned to need external validation first, to need external evidence first, and then we will believe. But it is the opposite with identity work and manifestation. And it's literally, if you think about it, it's the same in everything. You think about the food that you want, and then you get the food. You think about, your launch going wrong, and then it manifests. So everything is a thought, a feeling first, and then it manifests. So instead of manifesting what you don't want anymore, we want to shift that into what it is that you do want. And that takes some audacity, of course, the delulu, showing up as if when there's no physical evidence yet, moving in the darkness, when you know that on the other side is everything that you desire. And that is literally why I created Audacity to Be Her. Because this process, becoming the six-figure version of you, is how you condense time from asking and receiving. But so often, we watch a masterclass or we listen to things and we take things in, conceptualize them. But it is in the embodiment. It is in showing up every single day, having the awareness, having the tools, having the mentor to be like, oh, I see that pattern playing out. That pattern was the exact one that I had the visibility wounds, and then that came from that. And like, let's shift this. Having that saves you years, literally. Because, like I was mentioning, I showed up for literally a couple of years in my business without receiving literally anything. And this 6 month has condensed so many years, but I wish I fucking knew this earlier. It would have saved me so much time, so much energy. And that is why this space literally has to be birthed through me. It's like the universe is like, we need more incredible women in their power. We need more money in the hands of good people. We need to raise a collective consciousness. And you were a part of that mission. So, in Audacity to Be Her, the signature process is a four-step signature process that I take you through within this program. So, number one is collapsing the gap. So, like what we spoke, and the tip of the iceberg of what we really spoke about in this container, you get access to a course along with, in Audacity to Be Her, it is a quantum leap container. So we meet every single week, whether that is a teaching call, whether that is an embodiment call, so that you can actually condense the time between asking and receiving what it is that you desire. It allows you to show up, get the support that you need. So first off is making and creating that identity to collapse the time between you and her. So it's a signature course within this program to help you step into your six-figure identity, create that solid foundation and identity to say, this is the life I desire, this is who I need to be, and start showing up as her from day one. Two is creating that clear magnetic messaging. Who are you speaking to? Your ideal client with so much confidence, clarity, stepping into the version of herself that trusts her message, trusts her transformation. And I literally help you do this so that you can get your whole body, your whole subconscious, your whole being around what it is that you do, who you're here to help, so that you can show up confident AF and literally become magnetic to the right people. Because this was exactly what I did. I was trying to speak to everyone, but I was actually speaking to no one on my page because I wasn't speaking to the client directly. And this is such a powerful piece when it comes to your business. Number three is regulating your nervous system to the six-figure identity timeline. So everything that you desire, we regulate your nervous system around that using all of the tools that you will ever need within the portal to help you do this. So that, like what I said, it's like it just is. Like your nervous system is so regulated around that particular amount of money each month, or the apartment where you live, business class, etc., etc., that it just is. Like it has no other option to come into your life because you are so regulated around that. And that's how you calibrate to the new timeline, is regulating your nervous system around that. So that's a big part of the process. And then number four is rewiring to be open to receive. Because so often we are taught that we need to do more, prove more to be able to receive. But actually, it's deconditioning ourselves from all of the patterns that told us that we had to show up and prove and push and make it happen. And rather, it's about actually being open to receive. But it's not about taking more action. It's about how can you be more open to receive the clients, the money, the manifestations. That is such a powerful and potent one. So clients that I have taken through this process is really, really, really powerful because I had this particular client came to me. She was so lost. She had like been dipping her toe into what she was meant to be doing in this lifetime, and then out of it with what she had always done, being a social media guru. So she knew that she was meant for more, and she knew that she wanted to be paid for living out her purpose rather than doing something that she had outgrown and it felt stale and stagnant now. So in this process, going from literally attracting $0 and not being clear on what she was here for, her offer, all of these things, she ended up manifesting exactly everything that she desired. And she literally created that 6K in 6 weeks. She launched her business again in a way that felt really good because a quote that I saw recently was really, really, really powerful. It's just like essentially along the lines of if you create a business from the older, outdated identity who needs to prove, hustle, do things in a way that feel unaligned, then yeah, you might attract some things. Not saying that you can't attract wealth through that old identity and through hard work and hustle and all of those things, but you're creating the same prison for yourself, but you are the boss. So why not do this incredible identity work so then you're building a business that is aligned with you and how you want to create it? So we shifted her identity into the powerful CEO, trust her voice, all of the things that I mentioned. She was booked out for presentations. She was literally creating so much magic and momentum within her business because she became the version of herself who could receive the clarity, who could receive the ideas, who could receive the wealth and clients. And honestly, like, I get emotional talking about this because who she was when she entered versus who she is now, it's honestly life-changing. It honestly is. I can't even express that into words. Like, so let's not even try. It has to be like experienced, you know? Another client, and this is just an example of becoming the woman who not just manifests a amount of money and then goes back to her old reality. So that was really big for me, like I would build up my business to make 10K a month, but then I would sabotage and then the next month would be like $0. So this is about becoming the six-figure version of you who manifests, 10K, 14K, manifest that every single month. So it is just normal for you to receive that level of wealth. And, she came into the container feeling anxiety, feeling so stressed around money, so anxious, to leaving this container feeling ease, feeling abundant, feeling all of these incredible feelings. Because that is what it is all about. Money is a tool. It's not to be stressed about, to feel anxiety about. That is not the vibe. So, Audacity to be her is an incredible space. If you want to take this deeper, if you want to truly become this version of you, because this is just a taste of what I've gone into within this particular portal activation masterclass, whatever you want to call it. And you can take so much from this and you can run with that, absolutely. But if you want to join us and take this so much deeper, so that this identity shift becomes your default reality and it just gets better and better and better and better rather than, clocking off a masterclass and being like, oh, I feel good, I feel pumped, and then doing nothing with the information. We ain't about that vibe. But if you want to join us within this round of Audacity to be her, you will receive an email. And if you join us within the 24-hour window, there's actually something really, 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 really fucking special that I have popped in there for you. Because when you make that decision from the version of you that you have stepped into from this call together, rather than letting doubt and fear and all of those emotions, get the better of you, that is when the whole universe is like, oh, okay, she is ready. She is ready to make this happen because you're making that decision from the version of you who trusts that six figures, this life is already there. It's right there. And you are on the verge of this. And that is why your intuition has led you to this space because it's going to allow you to tip over into that fuck yes reality. You will understand that I swear a little bit on my calls because I am passionate about it. Anyway, all of those details will be sent to you. You can book a call with me as well to see if this space is right for you to get a little bit more clarity. But trust yourself, Queen, because you know what is right for you and only you. So enjoy the rest of your day, your morning, your evening, whatever time zone you are in. I appreciate you all so much for showing up for yourself, for showing up here today. And I will speak to you very, very soon.